Good evening. The March 31st, 2026 board meeting is now in order. I'm happy to welcome my fellow board members and the public. I would like to take this opportunity to remind the public that the appropriate place for public participation in the meeting is during your individual public comment opportunity as identified on the agenda. Outside of your individual public comment opportunity, your role in the meeting is as an observer. Paul, roll call, please.
Mr. Susan?
Here.
Mr. Thomas?
Here.
Ms. Campbell? Here. Mr. Trent?
Here.
At this time, I'd like the board and the audience to hold a moment of silence. I invite us all to join. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. That brings us to the adoption of the agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. On this evening's agenda, we have 3 proclamations, 3 recognitions, 1 presentation, 48 consent items, and 2 information items. Changes made to the agenda since it was released to the public include the following. Revised was F6, administrative recommendations. Removed was former F13, termination of an instructional employee. Removed F14, resignation in lieu of termination, and F16, termination of an instructional employee.
Do I hear a motion?
Move for approval.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Paul, roll call, please.
Mr. Trent?
Aye.
Mr. Susan?
Aye.
Ms. Campbell? Aye. Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
Please welcome Dr. Kimberly Bias to the podium to read the proclamation Autism Awareness Month.
Thank you very much, Dr. Rundell, board members. Thank you for the opportunity this evening to start the celebration of autism awareness for the month of April. Before reading the proclamation and introducing our guest, I do have a video I'd like to share with you that was created in collaboration with ESE Program Support Team as well as GCR. We went on a little road trip with Mike. He collected some amazing footage of the Home Base program in action. So I proudly share that Home Base is in all of our middle schools as of 2 years ago, which is designed to support our students with autism in some critical years in their educational journey. It's going to work. It's great. There we go.
Homebase is a comprehensive service delivery model designed to support middle school students with autism or students with social communication needs. Students serviced by the Homebase model often experience challenges with social interaction, emotional regulation, and communication across multiple settings. Homebase classrooms provide direct instruction in emotional regulation, social communication, organization, and executive functioning skills. Instruction is intentionally designed to support independence, self-awareness, and successful participation in the school environment. The Zones of Regulation curriculum, a key component of the instruction in emotional regulation, teaches students to recognize their emotions and utilize tools to regulate themselves within the school environment. In the Homebase model, the speech-language pathologist co-teaches alongside the Homebase teacher to support the development of pragmatic language skills. Through this collaboration, students receive targeted instruction that helps them build functional communication skills needed for peer interactions, classroom participation, and real-world social situations. Students also have access to sensory tools, calming spaces, and flexible seating within the Homebase classroom. These supports help students regulate their emotions, manage stress, and remain engaged in learning throughout the day. Another key component of Homebase is support facilitation. Students receive support from the Homebase teacher and a paraprofessional within their general education classes, ensuring access to rigorous instruction while promoting inclusion, independence, and success across settings. Homebase is more than a classroom. It is a model of support that builds communication, confidence, and skills to help students succeed in school and beyond.
Homebase is a a wonderful program which kind of allows the students to not only be in the ESE classroom, but as the gen ed population as well. In the home-based program, I teach a social emotional class and an independent functioning class. So in our social emotional class, we teach our students how to interact with other students, how to make friends, how to regulate emotions, and just socialize in total. And then in our 7th period class is our independent functioning class. And that's when our students kind of learn whether it's skills to study for a test, how to understand routines, how to do things of that nature. My favorite thing about being a home-based teacher is my students. They make this job so much fun. I love every single one of them, and just the positive attitudes they bring to the classroom, and then watching them succeed not only in the ESE classroom, but in the gen ed population as well.
Hello, my name is Diana Pittenger. I work here at Central Middle School. I am the ESE home-based teacher. I teach the learning strategies and the social emotional classes, which are both ESE courses. I also am the co-teacher for their math and their language arts courses. So I go into those classes every day, and we also have a paraprofessional that works with them, and she goes into their science and history or civics classes. We start off the year by learning about emotional regulation, and that's where we learn to identify our emotions and develop tools that we can use to help us be regulated in the correct zone for the situation we're in. We move on to working on social communication skills in a variety of different situations. Like today, we're going to be talking about how to give somebody directions. I have the benefit of time. I get to be with my students pretty much all day long. I get to learn their tells, so I can see when they're starting to get dysregulated, and I can introduce a tool there. The goal is for them to ultimately be able to regulate by themselves. Sometimes that happens. More often what happens is their classmates come alongside them and co-regulate with them. And it's a really, really cool thing to see them helping each other. My students, I love them. They are the absolute highlight of my day. We do have challenging moments, of course, but I expect that. I love the fact that I've been able to create a sensory-friendly environment for them. I have a variety of tools for a variety of sensory needs so that we can do.
My name is James Kenta.
I'm Micah Franson. I am here at Central Middle School. I am inside the Eagles program.
I'm Gilbert Ho, and I am at Central Middle School.
Hello, my name is Nathan, and I'm here at Central Middle School.
Yo, I'm Jordan. When you're getting angry, you can learn how to calm down and stuff.
Self-control for anger issues, talking with other people if you're scared to, or just communicate in general. Some simple stuff.
Emotional, self-regulation and stuff like that. Learning how to get others' attention and stuff.
My favorite thing to learn about is just learning about other people.
Mostly the fidgets, because they help me a lot by focusing and keeping myself entertained.
Probably the Zen zone,
Taking breaks and sometimes draw.
Music. I just put on my headphones and just listen to music of my choice.
It's our community, and that's exactly what it is.
Thank you so much for the time and sharing that. Central Middle School in Jefferson, we didn't visit all of them, but they did amazing, and then in collaboration like this over GCR, so thank you for that. So our Autism Awareness Month proclamation, whereas April is recognized as Autism Awareness Month, a time to honor and raise awareness about individuals with autism spectrum disorder, a neurodevelopment disorder characterized by a range of socialization, communication, and behavioral challenges. And whereas the symptoms of autism are typically present before age 3 and often accompanied by abnormalities in cognitive functioning, learning attention, and sensory processing. And whereas autism can impact any child regardless of race, ethnicity, or other socioeconomic factors, with an estimated 1 in 31 children in the United States being diagnosed with autism annually, with the condition being more prevalent in boys than girls. And whereas there is no current cure for autism, early intervention and appropriate support can significantly improve outcomes, providing individuals with the tools they need to thrive while reducing the level of funding services needed later in life. And whereas Brevard Public Schools recognizes the importance of autism awareness and the need to support individuals with autism, along with their family members, teachers, physicians, other care professionals, as well as support the funding of autism research. And whereas all individuals living with autism should have the opportunity to accomplish their goals, dreams, and ambitions, now, therefore, be it resolved that Brevard Public Schools calls upon all students, staff, and community members to learn more about the condition, recognize the importance of their inclusion, and respect the unique abilities of those with autism. Adopted by the members of the Brevard Public School Board, Brevard County, Florida, at the regular board meeting thereof held the 31st day of March 2026. I have the honor of introducing our guest this evening, an individual whose leadership and advocacy have made a profound impact on families throughout Brevard County. In 2011, Mary Reed established SOAK, which stands for Supporting Our ASD Kids, as a parent-led initiative. Her goal was simple yet powerful, to ensure that no family would face the challenges of autism alone. She also works tirelessly as a family resource specialist for Space Coast Early Steps. Mary collaborates with other community agencies supporting families with resources to fit their individual needs. Under Mary's guidance, SOAK has grown into a network of more than 5,000 members, offering monthly meetings, educational programs, family events, and resources. Today, as Brevard County presents this proclamation in recognition of autism awareness, we proudly acknowledge Mary's extraordinary contributions and her unwavering commitment to our community. Please join me in welcoming Mary Reed to the podium to accept this proclamation.
Wow, thank you so much for those kind words. That was lovely and unexpected. And thank you so much for the honor of accepting this proclamation on behalf of SOAK, Brevard families, and individuals diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder. We hope that the upcoming Autism Awareness Month will encourage community members to embrace neurodiversity. Autism is a spectrum of hopes, dreams, abilities, desires, thoughts, and possibilities, and we appreciate BPS and their recognition. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Bias, what we're going to do is at the end, we're all going to come up for pictures after we go through them. So we'll take them then. Thank you so much. Please welcome.
Gotta approve it, yeah.
What's that?
Gotta approve it.
Oh, yeah, that's right. All right. Do I hear a motion?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, poll roll call, please.
Mr. Trent? Aye. Mr. Susan?
Aye.
Ms. Campbell? Aye. Mr. Thomas?
Aye. All right. Please welcome Dr. Jana Jenkins to the podium to read the second proclamation, Child Abuse Prevention Month.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board, Dr. Undell, and BPS family. Thank you for joining me in this proclamation for Child Abuse Prevention Month. Whereas children are our nation's most vulnerable members, as well as our nation's most valuable resources, helping to shape the future of Florida. And whereas positive childhood experiences, like loving caregivers and safe, stable, nurturing relationships, can help mitigate trauma and the negative impact of adverse childhood experiences to promote the social, emotional, and developmental well-being of children. And whereas childhood trauma can have long-term psychological, emotional, and physical effects throughout an individual's lifetime, and in fact, future generations of their family. And whereas childhood trauma, including abuse and neglect, is a serious problem affecting every community in the United States, finding solutions requires input and action from everyone. Whereas children who live in families with access to concrete economic and social supports are less likely to experience abuse and neglect. And whereas prevention is possible because of the partnerships created between families, prevention advocates, child welfare professionals, education, health, community, faith-based organizations, businesses, law enforcement agencies, and local, state, and national governments. And whereas we acknowledge that in order to solve the public health issue of abuse and neglect, we must work together to change hearts and mindsets through storytelling and sharing, centering the needs of families, break down bias and barriers, and inspire action from expected and unexpected partners in prevention. And whereas we are committed to advancing equitable, responsive, and effective systems that ensure all children and families are healthy and thriving. And whereas we recognize the need to prioritize kids and invest more prevention initiatives like home visiting, family strengthening policies, and economic supports, and community-based child abuse prevention programs at the national, state, and local levels. And now, therefore, be it resolved that the School Board of Brevard County does hereby proclaim that April as Child Abuse Prevention Month urges all citizens to recognize this month by building a narrative of hope for children and families through collaboration and the creation of an ecosystem of primary prevention. Adopted by the members of the Brevard School Board, Brevard County, Florida, at this regular board meeting held on the 31st day of March 2026. And now I would like to invite Devine Vincent from Captive, our partner, to receive this proclamation.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for taking the time to honor this with us. I know there's many great initiatives for the month of April, and child abuse prevention is one of those, so we appreciate your recognition. For the month of April, we will be doing pinwheel plantings throughout the month, and with just thinking of what the pinwheel represents, you know, we want to make sure that all of the children in our community, that they have that right to a safe, happy, and healthy childhood, and we plant those pinwheels in honor of that, and the fact that there are kids, unfortunately, who didn't have that right fulfilled, but we plant those also in hope and with purpose and intention that in our community, collectively, we can all take part in making sure that our children have that happy, safe, healthy child that they all deserve. So thank you so much for recognition, and we appreciate your support.
Thank you so much. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Any discussion? Hearing none. Paul, roll call, please.
Mr. Trent? Aye. Mr. Susan?
Aye.
Ms. Campbell? Aye. Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
All right. We have 3 proclamations this evening. Please welcome Yvette Cruz to the podium to read the 3rd proclamation, the month of the military child.
Whereas thousands of brave Americans have demonstrated their courage and commitment to freedom by serving in the armed forces of the United States of America in active duty posts around the world, and whereas we recognize that many of the Patrick Space Force base's youth have been directly affected by the frequent changes in permanent station, causing them to move several times during their childhoods, military deployments, or separation of at least one parent, and the difficult reintegration period that follows all deployments. And whereas these children are a source of pride and honor to us all, and it is only fitting that we take the time to recognize their contributions, celebrate their spirit, and let our men and women in uniform know that while they are taking care of us, we are taking care of their children. And whereas the recognition of the month of the military child, first established in 1986 by Defense Secretary Caspar Weinberger, will allow us to pay tribute to military children for their commitment, their struggles, and their unconditional support of our troops. Because when parents serve in the military, their kids serve too. Whereas everyone is encouraged to wear purple on Wednesday, April 15th as a visible sign to thank military children for their strength and sacrifices, and whereas a month-long salute to military children will encourage the local community to provide direct support to military children and families and reinforce the strong partnership that we have cultivated between Brevard Public Schools and Patrick Space Force Base. Now, therefore, be it resolved that Brevard Public Schools recognizes and celebrates April 2026 as Month of the Military Child and April 15th, 2026 to be the Purple Up Day for military kids in Brevard County. Adopted by the members of the Brevard Public School Board, Brevard County, Florida, at the regular board meeting thereof held the 31st day of March 2026. And tonight we have a special guest, so please welcome from Patrick Space Force Base, the commander of Space Launch Delta 45, Colonel Chapman.
Hey, I want to say thank you very much to Brevard County for adopting the month of the military child here for the month of April. Since 1986, the month of April has been the month of the military child where we focused on the diversity of the children of military members around the world. We've got about 1.6 million military kids that currently serving with their parents around the world that move every 2 to 3 years. That's 6 to 9 different schools that they will be in before they graduate high school. And focusing on the kids helps bring resiliency to the base. So on behalf of Patrick Space Force Base and Cape Canaveral Space Force Station, we love the partnership with Brevard County Schools, and thank you very much.
Do I hear a motion?
Second.
Any discussion? Paul, roll call, please.
Mr. Trent?
Aye.
Mr. Susan?
Aye.
Ms. Campbell? Aye. Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
Good.
Mr. Chair, it might be appropriate now to take our first break for a round of photos, so we'll do the 3 proclamations.
Take a brief recess. Just want to recognize Ms. Sue Hand to the podium for the recognition of the administration recommendations.
Good evening, everyone.
Mr. Susan said, my name is Sue Han, and I'm very excited and especially honored to be here tonight on behalf of the district's financial services team. So this is kind of a new role for me, but it's really an honor for me to be able to introduce to you our new Director of Financial Planning, Cost Analysis, and Innovation. And this is, to me, one of the most strategic and impactful roles that we are going to have in the district. It's a new role, and it will allow us to be forward-thinking in terms of our financial work at Brevard Public Schools. So we are going to be moving from, more of a reactive, like responding to financial situations, responding to our revenues and expenditures as they happen, versus being proactive and being able to do projections, dashboards, transparency, all of the great things that we come to expect in Brevard, we are going to bring to our financial services team, to the board and the public. So it's really, really with great honor and excitement that I introduce to you Ashley Smith, our new director.
Good evening, Chair, board members, and Superintendent. It is a privilege to step into the role of Director of Financial Planning, Cost Analysis, and Innovation, and I am grateful for the trust that you have placed in me. I am committed to strengthening the rigor, transparency, and accountability of our financial practices. I also want to recognize the team's willingness to move beyond legacy approaches and adopt more disciplined, data-driven methods as it makes this real progress possible. Together, we are building a framework that delivers clear financial visibility, sharper cost insight, and innovation that produces measurable results, not just ideas. Moving forward, my focus is simple: ensuring every dollar is understood, justified, and aligned to student outcomes and organizational priorities. You can expect clarity, consistency, and follow-through. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Ann, new Deputy Superintendent. Please welcome Ms. Terry Barlow to the podium for the Head Start Region 4 Teacher of the Year recognition.
Thank you. Good evening, Dr. Rendell and board members. It is my honor to recognize Celeste Rotan, a dedicated educator with over 30 years of experience in early childhood education and a true champion of the Head Start mission. She has been with our Head Start program since 2017 and currently teaches at Saturn Elementary School. Celeste is deeply committed to supporting the developmental, academic, and social-emotional growth of young children while also fostering family engagement and mentoring fellow educators. The Region 4 Head Start Association Teacher of the Year Award is a prestigious regional recognition representing Head Start programs across 8 southeastern states, making this honor especially meaningful and competitive. Celeste's professionalism, leadership, and unwavering dedication to children and families truly represents the very best of Head Start. She was recently awarded this honor in Atlanta at the Region 4 Head Start Association Annual Conference and Gala, and we are proud to recognize her as the Region 4 Head Start Association Teacher of the Year.
So I just want to say thank you very much for this. And my friend told me to say this, so I'm going to say it, but also thank you for allowing me to continue to work with these children every day. It's a blessing and it's what I love to do. So thank you very much.
Thank you for serving our students. We good? Yeah. I know. Ms. Barlow would also like to recognize the recipient of the National Edward Ziegler Innovation Award, the Brevard Zoo.
For over a decade, Head Start has partnered with Brevard Zoo to deliver nature-based, hands-on learning experiences that expand access to high-quality education, including offering one-time free annual memberships to Head Start families to ensure equitable access. We are proud to share that our program, in partnership with the zoo, has been selected as the national winner When we put this on the agenda, we knew we were the regional winner, but we just found out right before spring break that we're the national winner of the Edward Ziegler Innovation Award and will formally be recognized in Minneapolis this May. This innovative partnership has resulted in measurable gains in school readiness, social emotional development, and family engagement, and serves as a strong example of an equity-driven model aligned with the spirit of this prestigious national award. We are proud to have our zoo partners here this evening and would like to recognize them for their continued commitment and impact on our children. We have Andrea Aubert and Sky Collier. Please come on up.
I just wanted to say we're very honored with this award, and we hope to continue working with Head Start and the school district in many years to come.
Don't go, no, don't sit down. I wanted everybody to know you guys do a phenomenal job. And I'm sorry I didn't speak to everybody else, but this one hits my dear heart. You guys are doing some amazing work at the zoo on multiple levels. All of my children have at one point gone through an educational program. And currently I have one daughter who is there, who she is the #1 teacher in the world, who is known as the mud princess because she gets into the mud and she tears stuff up, is because of you guys. She knows more about animals when we travel than anybody else in the car or anybody else in the world, and she's only 5 years old. So although she's not a part of the Head Start program, she's part of another program. We really appreciate what you do for our children. I appreciate as a dad what you've done for my family. So I just wanted to say thank you for that. That's all.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Chair.
I was just going to say.
We like to talk a lot. And we
I
just
know
kinda
it.
ran
I mean,
through it
I
pretty
just
quick.
have to point out,
I
our
know.
Head Start program at Brevard, this is like the second
know.
national record, because we just got noticed a couple years ago with the dental program.
Right.
You guys are putting Brevard Head Start on the map, so
Yeah.
thanks to our whole Head Start team. I mean, I'm pretty sure, and this is right up your alley, Mr. Schuson. I'm pretty sure 2 national awards and 1 large regional award in the last couple of years means that we're the best Head Start in the country. I'm pretty sure that's
Well, I was wondering, yes, and I was wondering why Minneapolis gets to host this thing. Why is it they don't start hosting it in Brevard? Being the fact that, I mean, we might not have the facilities, but I mean.
Well, we're building one.
We'll try to build one. We'll put them in our gyms, you know what I mean, on cots. But the bottom line is that you guys are amazing. I know we have Miss Dale and over here, one of the past winners and stuff like that, and support. And what you guys are doing is phenomenal. And it's in an area of extreme need for our district. And couldn't be more proud of you guys for what you're doing. But yeah, intergalactic, national, everything, winners of the world for Head Start, absolutely. Dr. Rendell, I know you've been itching to say something.
No, Mr. Chair, I just think it's time for round 2 of the photos.
Yeah.
All right, let's do it.
Let's take a recess. We're good. Welcome back, everybody. Please welcome Lieutenant Pavone to the podium. Lieutenant Pavone will be giving a presentation to the Journey of Flight. With him are the Cocoa High School JROTC drone crashers. So here we go. Go ahead, guys. Show us what we got. I was so excited over what was going on. So please run us through this. Let's go.
Good evening. I hope everyone is doing well. We are the drone crashers from Cocoa High School, presenting the presentation and models used to aid us in winning the Embry-Riddle drone mapping competition. On this slide and the next slide, you see our individual roles. Unfortunately, some couldn't make.
Who did you guys beat for the competition?
Everybody. We were the only school that showed up, so. Okay. It's an automatic win.
No, you don't say that. Don't say
You should
that.
just said everybody else.
No.
All right.
No, don't say that.
Actually, 4 other schools
Yeah.
that were invited to the competition.
Right.
And our school was the only school that went to the competition because the other schools were incapable of.
Well, and that's,
doing that.
and as you guys find out, it was not a competition for the day. It was a competition that was a length competition that other schools could not complete. So go ahead.
Honestly, I think we scared them off, but,
That's the answer.
There it is. There it is.
So for our drone mapping overview, over the first few months, we began taking pictures manually until Embry-Riddle representatives showed us how to do it automatically. And then afterwards, we printed out several 3D models of our school. We would like to recognize the teachers, Embry-Riddle representatives, and our Cocoa High's robotics team that helped us in completing this assignment.
Hello, audience and board members. I would like to talk with you a little bit about the 3D software that we used for this project. It was very extensive and we had a lot of problems.
Hang on, let's get you, hold on, let's get you a mic.
Mike, do we have a mic?
Yeah, right there. You can do that.
There we go.
All right, can everyone hear me?
Absolutely.
All right, wonderful. So to start off, we used Pix4D-Matic. This is a software that's used to process pictures taken by a drone and create 3D models as mesh models. We had to receive licensing from Embry-Riddle, so that didn't come out of our budget. We exported the file from Pix4D-Matic into Blender as an OBJ file. Now, we used Blender to alter the size and properties of the model to solidify and thicken the walls, making it more of what you see up front. We'll display in a little bit. And we exported the file as an STL into the Bamboo Lab slicer after we had changed all the sizes, because we don't want a model that's the size of our entire campus. So in the Bamboo Lab slicer, we use that to generate the G-code for the printer, which tells the printer which direction to move, where, and when. After that, we exported the G-code onto an SD card and input that into the 3D printer. Now, the 3D printer we used was a Bamboo Labs printer. We went between 2 different printers, my personal one and the Bamboo Labs printer. The Bamboo Labs printer was much more immediately accessible to everyone on the team because I don't want everyone coming to my house. So we went with the Bamboo Labs printer and had anywhere from a printing time of 50 minutes to 14 hours. And that is our software.
This is our problem-solving side, where we'll talk about the problems we faced and what we did to solve them. To start off, we were flying the drone manually, as mentioned before, which was very time-consuming. So when Embry-Riddle representatives came to our school, they introduced us to automatic drone flying. This allowed us to speed up our process and get all the pictures that we needed to make our 3D models. Another problem we ended up facing was related to our 3D software, where we had issues with the computer crashing and our processing stopping midway. To solve this, we utilized what we had at our school and our computer labs, using a better computer that could render the model. a final issue that we had faced was communication and staying in contact with flying the drone across our campus. To handle that, we got handheld radios. This helped us communicate easier with each other and helped us keep track of the drone.
Good evening, everyone. This is our results slide. So this was a 12-week process. Over the time, we collaborated as a team, as you see in front of us, to help us print our 3D model. We learned different 3D software. This is the first time for some of us and for people like Mueller and NICE. This is actually their experience with it. So we each learned how to fly a drone. I personally didn't know how to fly a drone, so that was pretty exciting, with the overall of 0 crashes. And lastly, we were able to represent and present a model for you guys.
So that says any questions, but before we get there, I would like to, yes, thank you, show you our models and so you can see them better. This was our first model. It's very tiny. It was of a small area of our school. It was a go-go ball pit. It didn't turn out as great as we had hoped, but it turned out okay. Then Mueller over here decided to take it upon himself and 3D print something at his house. It looks okay. It's very wide, which we didn't really want to be this thick. And we learned that we could thicken the buildings more. So on here, the green and red 3D print we got right here, we thickened the model, the buildings just a tad. Obviously, we had to thicken them a little bit more. And then we move over to this 3D model right here. This 3D model was our first go around at 3D printing at the school, I believe. Yeah, this was done by the robotics team 3D printer. And it turned out pretty good. However, we wanted it to be a lot bigger, and so we made it a lot bigger. We had to split it into 4 chunks. The smallest chunk right here was the one that took probably 50 minutes to do. It did not take that long. And the biggest one was probably this one. I think this one was our 14-hour print. It took a lot of filament, and you can see a lot of cars on this. So I'm very proud of our 3D print.
Yeah, so I'm not sure if everybody caught it, but these individuals basically 3D scanned their entire school and then 3D printed that multiple times until they could get one. And then because it wasn't big enough, created multiples to glue together, which is impressive because they're dealing, were you guys on a bamboo printer? Is that what it was? Mm-hmm. And you guys are printing back and forth. It's, what they did is incredible. And the reason that they were able to accomplish this is because for many years, we've been looking for teams to actually 3D model and print exactly what they're doing. So I wanted to say thank you so much, you guys. That was incredible. I know the board members are going to ask you questions. Anytime you bring tech up here, we start getting real excited.
No, I just want to come down. So we're going to take a picture because I want to see.
You want to get down? Well, wait. Does anybody have any questions? Joe, do we have any questions for them while we're here? Oh.
What would you have done differently? Reflecting on it now, what would you expect you to say? What would you have done differently?
I'm going to say definitely get some more outside help from other professionals that have used 3D software, whether it's talking with representatives from Blue Origin, because they have a lot of high quality 3D printers there as well, or just using a whole lot more Dr. Google.
Do you guys have any questions?
I have one.
Oh, really? All right, that sounds wonderful.
Guys, Mr. Thomas, board member Thomas has a question for you.
I just have when you were talking about the programming, I'd just like to know what language you were speaking, because I really didn't understand any of it.
So when I mention a OBJ file, it's basically a flat file. So it's a bunch of code that stores an object, but it's all one layer. So you have to use a different kind of file. So that G-code file I was talking about, that gives the file like depth and a
Mr. Thomas, I'm sure, understands it so much better now.
You've already lost me, so.
I want to know, how many of you are seniors? None. That is fantastic, because that means you can come back next year and do it again with a new project.
Well,
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And what people may not understand is that this is one of the competitions that we're bringing to the Innovation Games, and they should destroy everybody in the competition across the nation. Because Northrop Grumman's bringing installations from around the country. We have Brazil, their teams are coming. Like, this is going to be real, and this is going to be one of the events. So the fact that you guys got across the finish line is amazing, and Mr. Roger and Lori have been working with Mr. Pavone and some of the other organizations like Embry-Riddle to bring what you guys did in a smaller capacity so that we can compete and do it on the Innovation Games. It's phenomenal. And when you were talking about those codes, the only reason I know what you're talking about is because my son 3D prints on bamboo, and he does all kinds of designs. So he started saving the other day, and I got my laptop or my iPad, and I was like, what is this? He goes, oh, just save it as the whatever code you said, because there was a couple options there, and that's what he was doing because he was designing stuff. So it's really cool, and it's something that's really neat. And if people don't know, what they're able to do here in 3D model and print is something inside of the workforce that is severely needed, and you guys will do real well when it's there. So we're glad you're all coming back, because I want to see you whip up on everybody at the Innovation Games. You guys want to take a picture?
Yes.
Dr. Rendell? Okay. comments portion of the meeting. We have 19 speakers, which will receive 3 minutes. Our attorney will call the speakers in order which they signed up to speak. Mr. Gibbs, please call the first 3 speakers.
Bill Pearlman, Gina Derringe, Bonnie Ida.
Dr. Rendell, do we need to make a comment?
Yeah, I just want to make a comment. This is agenda public comment. Some of you signed up for items that are not on the agenda. So some of you already moved to non-agenda public comment. Some of you, we may ask, is this really an agenda item? If it's not, we will move you to non-agenda.
Good evening, Board and Dr. Rendell. I'm Bill Pearlman. Tonight, I wish to address agenda items I-1 and I-2 on the information agenda. I-1 is the procurement information report from February, and it contains an expenditure of $48,000 by Dr. Rendell for state and federal lobbying services. So you're spending this money while cutting back on literacy coach positions in our schools. Spending decisions should reflect student needs, not a political agenda. While speaking in Tallahassee about Senate Bill 1296, Dr. Rendell said a union should represent all of the workers in their employee group, and that, quote, if the union can't earn the support and trust of 60% of the people they claim to represent, then it's not doing its job effectively, end quote. I guess he believes that none of you are doing your jobs effectively because not one of you received 60% of the vote of the eligible voters in your districts.
Are we still speaking
Dr. Rendell
are we
also
still
bemoaned
speaking
the
to-
money wasted.
Are we still speaking to the, are we still speaking to the?
Overseen the waste of hundreds of
Hang on a
thousands of
second,
dollars
just hang on a second, hang on a second, hang on.
Talking
We're
about
speaking,
information agenda items I-1 and I-2, I-1 first.
trying to see the correlation between elections and that, but we'll let it go. Just start
Thank you
bringing
for
it-
not
start
violating
bringing
my
it-
First Amendment
start
rights
bringing it
again.
back, please.
Dr. Rendell also bemoaned the money wasted on litigation while he has overseen the waste of hundreds of thousands of dollars on defending you, Mr. Susan, your unwillingness to comply with public records laws. I personally would prefer a superintendent focused on protecting student learning outcomes and ensuring that every employee is treated with dignity, fairness, and due process. Let's talk about I-2. I-2 deals with the student code of conduct for next year, and I noticed quite a few changes that limit students' First Amendment rights. The updated code of conduct increases punishment levels, and it includes really vague categories. Your goal appears to be to classify student walkouts and demonstrations as very serious offenses, and that would lead to more severe punishment so that you could potentially expel even more students. The current count of students you have expelled this year, 46, including the 7 that you're going to expel tonight. And now you've added other misconduct and other serious misconduct to the code of conduct. These are vague and unclear. Everyone wants schools to run smoothly, but attacking students' First Amendment rights and creating even more serious punishments is not the answer. Unfortunately, expensive litigation is something you have become very accustomed to. Students deserve to be heard, not punished for exercising their rights. Protecting students' voices is part of protecting students. Do better. Brevard deserves better.
Gina Derringe. After Miss Derringe, we have Bonnie Ida and Haley Dish. Miss Derringe, you put down millage. What item is it about?
You have a lot of building that's going on, and I'm trying to weave it into talking about the forum that we're doing for millage that Dr. Riddell is going to be at, Ms. Cameron.
Yeah,
So,
that millage does not include construction.
so I have to wait to open
Yeah.
We weren't sure how I could
Yeah.
present it, but.
Yeah, it wouldn't fall under agenda items. If you have an agenda item you want to talk to, you can certainly talk to, but millage doesn't cover construction, that's surtax.
I can wait, but.
Okay.
Thank you.
On the 6th of April, just.
Thank you, thank you, ma'am.
All right, so it's Bonnie Ida and followed by Haley Dish.
Hello. I'm speaking in response to what I've observed and read about the student walkouts. There's an important point that I believe that the board has overlooked in the knee-jerk
Mr. Gibbs,
opposition
can you check?
to student walkouts.
Okay.
I find that condemning the students and teachers is a distraction from education rather than an effort to protect it. I'm a retired teacher who was well-versed in Tinker versus Des Moines. I taught in a conservative farming community out of state, but student protests were met with intelligence instead of opposition. The district was aware that such student actions are in themselves a teaching moment, a civics lesson in our country's proud tradition of free speech and nonviolent protest. It's an opportunity to show how words in a textbook play out in real life. It's called learning by active engagement. And yes, we could not ignore the emotional need for students to express themselves in solidarity. We teachers don't like anything that takes away our classroom time, so demonstrating during lunchtime, after school, whatever, is preferable, and I've seen demonstrations after school. But the peaceful demonstration itself should not be condemned. The other point that I want to make, and that you seem to be unconcerned about, is the disrespect shown toward the students. You can do them the courtesy of letting them exercise their right to free speech, which includes allowing them to consult whatever adults, including teachers, that they wish. That would also give them respect for the causes that they are espousing. That is the purpose of their protest. It's not a strictly performative exercise. Whether they are crying out for justice toward a beloved teacher kicked out for no apparent reason, for demanding that their meaningful and classic books be restored to library shelves, for defending the right to be different, for opposing the genocide in Gaza, and the brutal, dehumanizing abductions of immigrants. Debating these issues is what democracy is all about. It's about actually a branch of education that we call character building, along with civics and social studies. It's what education is all about. Hear their voices. They are our future.
Haley Dish. After Haley Dish, it would be Dean Paterakis. Mr. Paterakis, are you here? You signed up for F13. F13 was pulled from the agenda tonight. Yeah, no, it's what? Okay. All right, so it's Haley Dish, followed by Dean Paterakis, and then Jennifer Hopkins. And Ms. Hopkins, you signed up for literacy coaches. There's no literacy coaches under F5. What item are you speaking to?
It's not mentioned in there about monthly meetings. The reading instructional plan.
It's under what?
That's not.
The instructional materials is
development plan.
F5. Yeah, I don't see anything on literacy coaches.
No. Just have it moved to.
It says school-based literary coaches will meet monthly it's a stretch. If it's not about the instructional
It's not a
materials,
decision on
I
it.
would say it's not.
No, it's not a decision on literacy
be-
coaches.
Right.
Just because they've mentioned the word.
It's not a big deal.
All right, Ms. Dish.
Hello again, board. I am Haley Dish. I'm a 17-year-old Vera High School junior, and I've been before this board several times before, but this is my first time addressing an agenda item. I'm here to discuss the F2 meeting minutes regarding I2 Student Code of Conduct policy change. Before this policy change, the walkout policy made sense. Walking out of school for activism purposes was punished similarly to walking out of school to cut class. This, as my music teacher would say, doesn't just make sense, it makes dollars. The crime of walking out matches the ISS or detention punishment. In the new policy, punishments are off the rails, with suspension and expulsion mentioned. The policy is littered with offensively vague language, such as other misconduct. Policies with punishments as severe as suspension and expulsion should have very clear and precise guidelines and borders, not clauses like other misconduct. It's completely inappropriate and sets students up for failure. I ask the board, how do you plan on clarifying or revising the vague language presented in the policy so as to make it better understood with the general public? Protecting student voices is a part of protecting students. So to see the closest form of government to us, students, try to limit our expression and suffocate our voices is incredibly depressing, and it breeds distrust and discomfort throughout the student body. We strive to trust and respect you as you do us, but it seems you harbor very little trust and respect for your staff and your students. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Dean Paterakis. I recognize some of you from about 8 years ago when I ran for school board. The last time I spoke here about that time was about a teacher who showed a picture of his manly thing, and I was arrested. And he was a teacher who showed it in class. And I asked the question back then, why is this teacher still able to teach? Why is he still an employee? We have a situation, and back then, Dan Bennett was our union teacher president. And now I understand he's gotten himself in trouble. Now, yes. Okay, well, I'm just gonna continue to speak because now I see. So what I would like to see, if you haven't, what I hope to see, because it concerned me back then how he started to call me names after I exposed this teacher, and so.
At the end, we have 3 minutes that you can speak.
Well,
at
this
the
is
end.
this is on agenda 14, which has intermination and lieu. So
That
I'm
is a different individual.
Okay, well, it's still an agenda item, and I'd like to speak upon
If you-
that really quick. I'll be done. You should be holding my minutes and seconds. I know.
Go ahead.
Let me finish my point, and I'll move on. I'll just walk right out unless you guys want
Please
to
don't use
arrest
the
me
wrong
again.
name, that's all. That's all.
What's that?
Please don't use the wrong name, that's all.
It's not, okay, don't use
You know,
my
see
name?
what I mean? That's
Okay,
all.
so anyway, so I'm concerned because it's birds of a feather. And as a union president, he knows good and bad, and now he's a teacher, well, he's
Yeah,
a teacher.
Mr.
so-
Paterakis, I'm just going to ask you if you can, we have speaking at the end. You'll have your time to speak. We're going to move you to the non-agenda item. We can't speak specifically to an item that's not on the agenda so that we can get through that. And then at the end, there's 3 minutes that you can have. I'll give it to you then. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Ms. Hopkins.
Good evening. My name is Jen. I am a community member and a former BPS parent and student. I'm speaking about Agenda Item F5, Brevard Instructional Materials Plan for the school year 2026-2027. At the February 3rd school board meeting, I spoke about the budget and the recent announcement of cuts. I was happy to hear from your own data at a work session how literacy coaches were having a positive effect on outcomes in BPS. I said I hoped that budget cuts and laying off 7% of employees at the largest employer in the county wouldn't touch these programs that are making a proven difference in the education of our kids. I saw head shakes. I heard you say you were eliminating open positions and district positions first. I saw and heard you mislead the community, and everyone else can see it too if you go back and watch the meeting. There have been a few times this board has made a small positive difference, but many more times that have left me disappointed. This issue is really touching a nerve for me. Tonight, I'm asking that you reconsider including literacy coaches in your cuts. Employing fewer coaches and spreading them out amongst multiple schools takes away the support that has already been proven effective. Instituting a plan for them to meet only on a monthly basis will very likely erode the progress that has been made. Please plan to move forward, not backward. Please plan to share information honestly and clearly with the community. Students before profit, students before politics. We freaking love transparency. Brevard deserves better. Thank you.
Keith Schachter.
Next two.
After Mr. Schachter, we have Bernard Bryan and Quinn Dyke.
I'm going to speak to item I-1 and I-2. I-1 has to do with the expense, the $48,000 expense for lobbyists in federal and state lobbyists. I feel like this board has articulated on many occasions its commitment to fiscal conservatism. I'm not going to pass judgment on that expense, but I would like the board to respond in writing and hopefully present to the public what the foundational reason why we're spending $48,000 for lobbyists. Fundamentally, I think it's a problem when we intertwine politics and students, and we should, during a time when our school system is in great peril, we have schools that we're closing, we have jobs that are being cut, we have programmatic cuts. All of these things that are happening because of major problems with our school system, declining enrollment being one of those things. I hope, although I think it would be difficult, but I'm sure an argument could be made why $48,000 is going to be spent. Hopefully it's to address some of those issues, but we all know that lobbyists are paid to serve certain interests, and this $48,000 is use of public money. And I asked the board, whose interests are we serving by spending $48,000? That is a teaching unit. That is somebody who's not going to have a job next year. That is programs that help support what we saw earlier, which renewed so much faith. It was awesome to see the kids, the robotics program was awesome. It was awesome to see the drone program. So I think that we need to do a better job of being fiscally conservative and practicing what we preach. Perhaps this is a new assignment for congratulations to Ms. Wright and Ms. Hound for their new role. We're talking about financial transparency. Well, we would like, as the public, we would like to know transparency. We want to know what that money is being used for and how is it going to serve the collective interests of all students, not just certain students, but all students. And so I would love to have a little bit more clarification on that. We need more transparency. Thank you.
Bernard Bryan. After Mr. Bryan, we have Quinn Dyke, Cynthia Najame.
Thank you so much, Board. Again, my name is Bernard Bryan, and I'm representing the South Brevard community. And I was so excited today based on what I heard. I heard that Brevard Public School Head Start was rated #1 in the state. Their early learning program was rated very, very high. And I want to commend Dr. Harris and her team, Ms. Barlow and Ms. Myers and Ms. McDonough. So the reason why I'm so proud of that, I'm standing here telling you that every child in Brevard County should have those experiences. Every child should have the ability to attend some of the great opportunities that are in Brevard Public School. I had an opportunity this week to walk through some government housing, and I tell you, I almost broke down in tears. I ran into some families that were in poverty. I'm talking about accommodation, student accommodation. So I ran into some children that that looked like they couldn't really feed themselves, how their parents wasn't feeding them. They were in poverty. They were, just economically not in good shape. And I believe that based on the data that's coming from this district, that if early learning is not in place for our children, every child, and I think the poverty level will not change. Our communities will not change. Behavior will not change. So I'm just hoping, I'm praying that this team will look at investing in that. Just seeing kids, and I asked a couple of parents, have you heard of VPK? And a lot of them say no. So that is not good for our community, and I'm just praying and hoping that this board will invest in this area because it's going to save us in the long run in terms of poverty. So I just wanted to throw that again up to you based on what I heard today, the high level of respect that's in Brevard County, and I believe every child should have that experience. So, and then when I looked at the information today, again on students' accommodation, when I look at the amount of students that are, the amount of parents that are receiving family empowerment scholarship, private school money, vouchers money, that's a lot of money. My math came out to around $130 million that is not being grabbed by the Brevard Public Schools. I don't quite understand all the ins and outs of that, but it's my quick math. So really saying that that money really should be in the Brevard Public School system. Like I said, I do believe in parental rights, but if anything that we can do to fight to help keep our kids in Brevard Public School, I'm willing to do it. And I'm willing to sacrifice my time. Right now, I'm getting older, but I'm still willing to fight, okay, for our public schools. So that's kind of where my heart is. And I hope one day that we can see a plan on how we're going to recover that. Just looking at the data, where students are actually going from, leaving our schools, going to different private schools, the data is there. The areas are there where we can really fight to really recapture those students. So that's kind of where my heart is today, and I hope you will consider my plea.
Quinn Dykes. After Ms. Dykes, Cynthia Najami, Maxwell Yates, Pamela Castellana.
All right. Good evening, school board members and Dr. Rendell. I hope you all had a restful spring break. I will be speaking on agenda item F39. First, thank you to Ms. Black for presenting the student accommodation plan. It's something you all know I've been looking forward to reviewing. One point Ms. Black made that stood out to me was the gap between available students in Brevard and those enrolling in BPS is the lowest it has been since 2002. To better understand that, I compared the elementary and middle school from two charts from the 2024-2025 and 2025-2026 school years. I actually have some charts printed for you all so you can see what I'm talking about and not have to visualize it yourselves. All right. So this data highlights 20 elementary and middle schools where charter enrollment is at least 1/3 of the students choosing the public school option. While that number is concerning, I believe it is manageable with a good game plan. I did want to note that this does not include homeschooling or private school families, so it's not a complete picture, but it is a strong starting point. Schools highlighted in yellow show increasing charter enrollment year over year. Orange indicates a slight decrease, but still above the 1/3 benchmark. The remaining schools have dropped below 1/3, but remain close to the 1/3 benchmark and should still have an eye kept on them. I put together this data because I think it gives us a clear snapshot of where in the district families may be hesitant to choose BPS. But the key question is why? What are the families experiencing that make them choose another option? Is it programming, experience, awareness, or maybe something else? Something Ms. Black said was that the students are here, we are just not closing the gap on capturing them. I would love to see outreach specifically in the areas around the schools on my list, like canvassing or community forums so these families can provide honest feedback on their own why. Maybe the board could even split up the list of 20 and make it a competition on who can lower their number the most. I hope we will hear more about how we can tackle this ever-growing hurdle. Thank you so much for your time and consideration.
Cynthia Najami. After Cynthia Najami, we have Maxwell Yates, Pamela Castellana, Jack Apatsis.
Good evening, board.
Good evening, everybody. If I were still teaching, I just want you to know. Good evening, board. I was just going to say good evening to you. And if I were teaching, you'd be moving up to the front. I am speaking on the new walkout policy. My motivation to be here this evening is that I was genuinely excited for the opportunity to recognize some of your high school students. Young people that I had the privilege of meeting just a few short months ago. I met these students through a Sunday non-denominational gathering of sorts where I witnessed their thoughtfulness, integrity, and deep concern for others. I am aware that some of these students participated in a walkout to protest policies related to U.S. immigration and customs enforcement. Regardless of where one stands on those policies, it is important to recognize that young people are directly affected by them. Many of these students cannot yet vote, and peaceful protest is one of the few meaningful ways they can make their voices heard. My concern lies in how consequences for such actions are determined. After 40 years in education, holding a Bachelor of Science, a Master's in Guidance and Counseling, and a 6-year in Educational Foundations, I find it difficult to reconcile how an act of peaceful civil disobedience could be treated with the same level of severity as offenses such as fighting, harassment, or physical aggression. Such equivalence raises serious questions about fairness, proportionality, and certainly subjectivity. As both an educator and a taxpayer, I believe we should be investing in students who demonstrate leadership, civic engagement, and moral courage. These are qualities we strive to cultivate. To risk excluding these students from their school community, potentially placing them in alternative educational settings at additional cost, seems not only counterproductive, but contrary to our educational mission. Whether a student is getting on or off a school bus, playing at recess, or engaging in a peaceful protest, I urge staff and administrators to respond with support and creativity, working with students, not against them, to build the kind of respectful and supportive school culture we all want to see. I urge the school board and administration to set aside personal, political perspectives and approach this situation with care. This is an opportunity here to guide rather than punish, to affirm students' voices while reinforcing the values of respectful and responsible civic participation. When students choose to protest peacefully and thoughtfully, they are not turning away from education. They are putting it into practice. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Maxwell Yates. After Maxwell Yates, we have Pamela Castellana, Jack Apatsis, Cecilia Trotter.
Hello and good afternoon, school board. My name is Maxwell Yates. I am currently a senior at Melbourne High School, and I'm here today speaking on agenda item F2. More specifically, I'm here to talk about the new, unfair, and potentially dangerous policies that have been added to the Student Code of Conduct. The new policies set out by the board say that students who organize, plan, coordinate, promote, encourage, or facilitate disruptive conduct can face more severe punishment like suspension or worse. This is a clear overstep by the board as it discourages a ridiculously wide range of action being considered as disruptive activity. The wording implies that a student who talks about going to, say, a walkout, or encourages a friend to go to a walkout could be punished with detention or even out-of-school suspension. This decision crushes a student's First Amendment right to speak their mind. The new policies also use vague language like other misconduct, as many others have stated. The use of this language allows for teachers and staff members to punish students unfairly for actions that do not deem such drastic punishments. And vague language is dangerous as it will cause students to have, and if students are punished by this vague language and these unfair punishments, then they will have less respect for the rules themselves, and it will encourage more students to disregard them and to be more unruly. Anyway, that is all I have to say. Thank you so much for your time.
Pamela Castellana, followed by Jack Apatsis, Cecilia Trotter, Karen Hattie.
Good evening. I'm here to talk about labor relations and your MOUs. Recently, Superintendent Rendell testified before a state congressional committee stating that unions cost counties hundreds of thousands of dollars, direct quote, in lawsuits. He specifically said he could speak to this fact as the superintendent of Brevard County Public Schools. While I wait for the results of a public records request of March 4th that I've made to this body, with the dollars that Rendell claims the Brevard Federation of Teachers has cost our county in lawsuits, and as we are facing yet another uneven distribution of discipline in our county involving the expulsion of some students for an unexcused absence, which will undoubtedly lead to yet more costly lawsuits at the expense of Brevard County parents and all Brevard County taxpayers. I have to remind you that if you just uphold the Constitution in the first place, you won't have those lawsuits. I hope every union member scrutinizes the MOUs mentioned and every other document that comes from this board. With a frankly defamatory anti-union sentiment publicly expressed by Mr. Rendell, it is clear that no union member can both support their professional union and the superintendent.
Just a
This
second.
MOU is about CTE teachers. It doesn't
Yeah.
have anything to do.
It's about
Paul,
any
you wanna-
labor relations.
Hang on, I
any
stopped your
MOU.
clock. Hang on. Paul, want to give us a overview?
Not seeing anything about this topic under the CTE.
We have work-based
We
learning,
have comprehensive
CTE, and we have
support
a
grant
comprehensive
MOU,
support.
but,
It's tied, that has to do with Title I. It doesn't have
right,
anything to do
yeah.
with.
I don't see anything about discipline on
It's
here.
about any negotiations involving our labor unions.
No,
labor
no,
unions.
no, you can't, that's a stretch. Listen, I don't mind
It's not
giving
on
you
the
the
agenda.
opportunity to speak afterwards. It's not a big
It's not
deal.
on
It's
the
just, we
agenda.
need to get to the agenda items. So if that's the opportunity that you need, then
I said
wait
everything
until
I
the,
need to say.
okay, thank you.
Union members cannot let support
Thank you,
Rendell.
ma'am. We appreciate you.
Jack Apatsis, followed by Cecilia Trotter and Karen Hattie.
Item F5. In the implementation of instructional material plan, it says communication of the newly adopted instructional material will be presented to all stakeholders beginning in May 2026, with a focus on supporting teachers with professional learning and coaching strategies to increase student achievement, best practice to close achievement gaps, and methods to increase family engagement. I think the last part of this paragraph is very important because it's missing one word: respect. I've been in Brevard Public School since kindergarten. I'm now a senior, accepted into college, and feeling prepared for the next leg of my life. I owe this entirely to Brevard Public School teachers. Because of this, I ask that something be added to this list, with a focus on supporting and respecting our teachers. I ask this because without your support, but most importantly, your respect, they can't fully meet students' needs. And we see teachers come in with so much fire to teach and connect with students on a deeper level, just for them to burn out and at worst case, leave. I, as a student, have seen great teachers leave this county. But
Unfortunately.
yes, because I think it highlights a broader systemic issue. I know it's hard to see, and I'm glad you brought
It's
this up.
fine, it has to be right on the thing. It's not a big deal. You can speak at the end, it's not a big deal. But right now, that's not on the agenda.
Yes, so I understand where you're coming from. I think it can be hard to see, but I think this is
If you
highlighting.
continue to go down it, we're going to ask you to stop, but just, if you can get back to something, that would be great. Thank you.
I'm going to
Or just
continue
give
my
them 3
speech.
minutes at the end.
Yeah, we'll give you 3
It
minutes at
has
the
to be
end.
about instructional materials.
Something about instruction.
I believe almost all teachers came into the profession because they saw the impact they could have on future generations.
All right, look, man, hey, just come back at the end.
You want me to come back?
Yeah, come back, we'll give you 3 more minutes. Yes, sir, yes, sir.
Cecilia Trotter, followed by Karen Hattie and Ezekiel Edwards.
Good evening, Dr. Rendell and school board members. I'm talking about Agenda F7. At the March 10th work session, you presented a slideshow outlining proposed changes to the district's organizational structure. The presentation suggested eliminating the chief financial officer position and redistributing those responsibilities across other departments as a cost-saving measure during which you described as a challenging budget time. You also noted that Ms. Sue Han, who is widely respected, was willing to take on additional responsibilities, and Ms. Han has been reclassified to the position of Deputy Superintendent. It was also stated that the only new position added would be an executive director. However, the presentation included no actual financial data to demonstrate that this restructuring would save money. According to public records, the former CFO, Ms. Lisinski, earned $156,000 and change. The newly posted executive director position is listed at $112,000 to $128,000. If additional raises are being provided to compensate other departments for absorbing CFO-level duties, then the public deserves to see what this restructuring produces, if this restructuring produces any real savings at all. Brevard Public Schools is a $1.6 billion organization. In a moment when transparency and accountability are more important than ever, and when the voucher system is already straining our budget and enrollment, this district needs a qualified, dedicated chief financial officer. A CFO is not a luxury, it is a safeguard. It is the person who ensures that every dollar is accounted for, that financial decisions are strategic, and that the district remains stable in a time of shrinking resources. The CFO is the one who steers the financial ship in the right direction. Eliminating that role does not strengthen our district. It weakens oversight at the exact moment when oversight is most needed. Tonight, I'm asking this board to reconsider this restructuring and restore the CFO position. Our students, families, staff, and taxpayers deserve a budget that is managed with expertise, transparency, and integrity. Thank you.
All right, Karen Hattie. Karen Hattie. After Karen, we have Ezekiel Edwards, Paul Raub.
Hello, my name is Karen Hattie, and I'm a junior at Vera High School. I'm here to talk about F2. The policy before this made sense. The walkout punishment was similar to just leaving school just to skip. As you know, Brevard students have a history of walking out. Back in 2022, I went to the Don't Say Gay walkout. It was simple and easy, and there was no punishment. In 2018, there was a walkout for Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School shooting. There was no punishment. But why now is this different? The Brevard School's motto is to serve every student with excellence as the standards. You are not serving every student with excellence if you're not encouraging students to use their First Amendment right to protest. Walking out is a form of protest, and our students need to learn how to stand up for our rights and not be discouraged. Be the example we want to see and stand up for students' rights. Thank you.
Ezekiel Edwards. Ezekiel Edwards. After Ezekiel Edwards, we have Paul Raub, Christopher Gibson.
Good morning, Good afternoon, board members and Dr. Rendell. My name is Ezekiel Edwards. You may recognize me from the last board meeting at the beginning of this month. I came to you with concerns of the school walkouts and wanted clarity of the policy and proper disciplinary action and how that would be carried out. Brevard students stressed about unwarranted long-term suspension and even expulsion. I was reassured by three different board members that students in Brevard didn't need to worry about their freedom of speech or their right to protest being infringed upon. Yet that was a lie. Not even a week later, you, the school board, proposed a new policy update to punish any student who organized, planned, coordinate, promote, or even encourage their peers. Oh my God. Or encourage their peers to join in on what they personally believed in to be just. This affects people like me and any students who want to make change with the little support and resources and right that they have to do so. The original walkout policy was functional and simply needs to be executed honestly and properly, rather than using vague language inscribed with misconduct. So I'll ask you again, Is it not the district's responsibility to ensure fairness to those affected by the rules you push without fair bias? The students of Brevard are stumped by your threats, your inconsistency across topics, and your clear, closed-minded focus on what you want. Thank you, and have a good rest of your night.
Paul Raub. After Mr. Raub, we have Christopher Gibson and Derek
Hang on,
Matheson.
Mr. Raub. If we can get the speakers to come up and sit up in the front, that way we, you know what I mean, we can get moving, that'd be great. Thank you.
Derek Matheson is last.
Thank you for doing that. Here we go.
Evening, Board. I'm speaking on item F5 on behalf of a reading coach in Brevard Schools who is asked to remain anonymous. Quoting now. For over a decade, she has dedicated her life to one school, pouring everything she has into teachers, students, and the success of her campus. She built relationships, she strengthened instruction, she did exactly what this district asked of her and more. And now she's being discarded. This is not about budget cuts, this is about mismanagement and a failure of leadership. F5, literacy coach, as mentioned in the item, as someone else spoke on earlier.
It has to be
It
about
has to be about
instructional
instructional materials. It's fine. You can come back at the end and speak for 3 minutes.
It's fine for you, this doesn't mean.
No, it's the rules, Mr. Raub. Mr. Raub, it's the rules. So if you can bring it back to instructional materials, that's great. If not, you can wait till the end and you can speak then. It's not a big deal.
All right, I'll just get back to the little bit at the end where I was going to talk about F2, the new discipline policy, and just suggest perhaps treat the walkouts the way you do locker room assaults, suspend them for 1 game, and then come and cheer them on.
Christopher Gibson. Christopher Gibson.
Hello, Board. I'm speaking on agenda item F2 and as well as I2. Once again, on the student walkouts and the repression they are facing. I'll keep my remarks brief because I intend to. Don't smirk, Mr. Susan. I'm not done yet. I'll keep my remarks brief because I intend to revisit this topic at the April 14th board meeting when items actually come up for vote, and because multiple speakers before me have already made some excellent points. So instead, I will emphasize something that has not been talked about yet. In my correspondence with students from groups such as Brevard Youth for Democracy, I have been told repeatedly that authority figures insinuate that they have not formed these opinions on immigration or walkouts on their own, and that they're actually being put up to it by adults. I consider this not only insulting to the community who also wishes to speak out against immigration issues, but also to the students themselves. These students are young adults. Some of them are already enrolling in college. Some of them are already 18 years old. They can form their own opinions. The fact that their opinions run contrary to yours and often provoke them to take action you do not approve of does not make them any less valid. Oh, and since the topic of budget has come up so often in discussions at this board, I would like to point out that the lawsuits you are going to receive if you begin expelling students en masse is going to really wreak havoc on the budget.
Derek Matheson. Derek Matheson.
Hi, my name is Derek. I'm a BPS alumni and parent to a soon-to-be grade school-age child. I'm here to speak on your attack on First Amendment rights via agenda items F2 and I2. Is the mic on? That's a good question. Anyways, I've taken the liberty to print out a copy of the full Tinker v. Des Moines decision for your lawyer, as this board seems dead set on wasting taxpayer dollars in constitutional court with a student v. Brevard Public Schools trial. Believe me, there will be a trial if you are ignorant enough to truly pass these rules and then unlawfully apply harsher punishments against peaceful and silently protesting students. The main points in Tinker v. Des Moines is that a student cannot be punished more harshly for engaging in First Amendment expression and demonstration compared to non-engaged peers, so long as the demonstration does not, quote, cause a material and substantial disruption, end quote. I do not see how students who silently leave campus with written parental permission while having available absence days qualifies as material and substantial disruption. Furthermore, we pay a hefty amount for school resource officers. I'm sure those well-paid individuals can handle overseeing a silent group of 30 to 40 students holding signs if they were to remain on campus. and demonstrating. Again, an absence from class is not a material or substantial disruption, especially if they complete any missed work. I have no doubt that students smart enough and brave enough to engage in First Amendment demonstrations would happily complete their assigned work. Again, we have assigned money to these officers. We have a limited county budget. Let's not waste it on a constitutional court battle, especially as budget waste from a board that just voted to close Cape View Elementary and which previously announced the 7% job cuts across the board back in January would be a rather pathetic look. Your cited reasons for the school closure was lack of student enrollment. I fail to see how eliminating your students' God-given constitutional rights as U.S. citizens will help to curb
Sir,
the
if
lack
you can just hang
of
on just a
enrollment in
second and you can
BPS.
stop. Bring it back.
Okay.
All right,
In
to
fact, it is
protests,
actively
not
doing the opposite.
school closures.
As I said, I am a parent of a young child, soon to be grade school age. I've had this conversation with other parents, and we came to the conclusion that we do not trust this board's current objectives and past stated beliefs as being good enough to entrust our children's future education to.
Okay.
Furthermore, BPS is ranked first in the state according to U.S. News and World. However, being first at the county level in a state that is ranked 21st out of 50 by Wallet Hub is still a failing grade of 48%.
Can you
Though other
bring this
sources
back
rank you even
to
lower.
protests?
I would recommend that this board try refreshing themselves on its constitutional civic duties before embroiling yourselves in constitutional court against children. Fund our teachers and support staff by making BPS a safe place that upholds the Constitution.
Okay.
One that parents will actually want to send their kids, stop being feckless failures, and actually do
All
your
right,
job.
Thank you. Good?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I do intend to address a couple of things that were mentioned at the end. So if people want to stick around, I do plan to address a couple of those things during our board discussion time.
Yeah, me too. Absolutely.
And just to summarize, Mr. Pederakis was added to the non-agenda. Paul Raub was already on the non-agenda. Pamela Castellana, I added you to the non-agenda. And Jack Apatsis, I added you. Gina was already on the non-agenda, so.
Oh, okay.
Did I miss anybody who got moved?
All right. That concludes agenda items only for public comments. We thank you for the time out of your schedule to address the board with your concerns and suggestions. I would like to remind the public that the board is accessible for further conversations outside of our business meeting through scheduling a meeting. We are now at the consent agenda. Dr. Rendell.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. There are 48 items on the agenda under this category.
Thank you, Dr. Rendell. Does any board member wish to pull any of the items?
No.
All right. I'll entertain a motion to accept the consent agenda items on today's agenda with the exception of those pulled for discussion.
Move to approve.
Second.
Second, you got Gene on the move on the first motion. Any discussion? Paul, roll call, please.
Mr. Trent?
Aye.
Mr. Susan?
Here, or yes?
Ms. Campbell?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Aye. We move the information agenda, which includes an item for board review and may be brought back for action at a subsequent meeting. No action will be taken this item today. There are 2 items under this category. Does any board member wish to discuss these items?
Yes, actually, this will be a more appropriate place, probably, since the two of the particular things that I wanted to address that public commenters mentioned are here. So let me start with the first one, I-1, which is the procurement item. Great question. It's certainly something we want to be transparent about. We want people to understand why we would do procurement services for a lobbyist. First of all, people need to understand that we have had a lobbyist for many years. Prior to me being on the board, I know for sure. I think we had, in fact, a big conflict about it one year before. I think the year right after you got on the board, Mr. Susan. It is, when we have a lobbyist, the work that those lobbyists do, that they have done, are things like securing funding for the airplane hangar at Oak Valley High School, the firefighter academy at Palm Bay High School, the most recently we had the Cocoa Beach, the aquaculture program. We just secured funding from Congressman Herodopoulos at a federal level to replicate the aviation program at Oak Valley, to put it at Space Coast Junior Senior High. So when people talk about, yes, $48,000 is a lot of money, but when it talks about just this year in one program having brought in, what, $2 million?
$2 million.
Over
$2 million to help us build a program that is super expensive. So, and just to make sure, again, for the transparency's sake, when we have a lobbyist, the board develops, in addition to appropriations asks, which are always for programs in schools, mostly over the last couple of years, they've been CTE. We have also had appropriations requests for adult ed, which has allowed us to build a CDL training program. If you go by South Lake in Cocoa, you'll see the track was turned into a training facility, and we're working on our mechanics, to turn that whole area into a technical college. So mostly it's those kind of financial appropriations. If there is anything policy-wise that we use our lobbyists to do, it is the platform that the board develops together in open public meetings. This year, the board did not have our own separate platform besides those two lobbying requests. We did develop platforms that are items that we presented to FSBA, our Florida School Boards Association, as well as the consortium of the Greater Florida Consortium of School Boards. I'm going to miss out a letter in there somewhere. So we were a part of that. We talked about those items through the fall in federal and state. So those are the kinds of things. If there's any lobbying going on, you need to understand those are the platforms. Those had to do with making sure that teachers can get certification and hang on to it more easily. There were several other things. If anybody wants those public available documents, we talked about them in public meetings. I'm happy to send them to you, or you can go to either the consortium's website or FSBA's website and see the legislative platforms. Those are the things that this board was lobbying for, that we use lobbyists for, but primarily it is for those appropriations, the funds that we're trying to secure, because we have great support from Congressman Herodopoulos. He's been so supportive since he took that role on this, a year and a half ago. But Congressman Herodopoulos cannot move that by himself. So the lobbyist's job in the federal level is to make sure that that appropriation can make it to the finish line. We're very happy to announce that it did and to approve it, and we're really excited to see those funds. And that's what our lobbyists do every single year. So I just want to make sure that's clear. I also wanted to address the code of conduct.
Can we stay on the lobbyist piece for
Yeah.
just a second?
Yeah, anybody else want to talk about
I
lobbyists?
just wanted to also mention, for instance, not only the revenue that we receive, which the ROI is one of the best ROIs you've ever seen. The money that we spend towards the money that we gain is 10, 20, 30x sometimes. The other piece to it is just like I was speaking to Ms. Dampier today, we need support in the federal government for all of the other. We have millions and millions of dollars that come in through programs through the federal government that we need support and help for. We also need support for some of our teachers. One of the things we were talking about is the rules and regulations that come down from the federal government relating to students that are being pushed into classrooms and stuff like that, with some of those rules where some of those are some problems that we're dealing with right now. We can't even deal with it locally. We can't deal with it statewide. We need to go to the federal government. So the fact that we went and got a federal lobbyist for the first time, which I'm really excited about in a long time, is got ROI that's incredible. And I just wanted to mention that at the end of it. Okay.
And there may, I know we've talked in the past before about the potential of using the federal lobbyists to secure funding for other kinds of facilities
Absolutely.
needs.
The ROI
So those
is
are the
insane.
kinds of things, and again, all that's happened in public meetings.
Yep.
I did just jump to the code of conduct, and I'll just be really honest with you guys. I am disappointed when it seems that even people who come to the podium seem to have gotten more information from a social media post than from the actual document. So I'm going to take you to the actual document because I want to make sure that we're addressing your concerns. So I'm looking in the red line draft. That's my favorite one to look at because the red line draft shows you all the things that change. The clean draft's great, and that's what's going to go out to the students. But the red line draft is so important because it shows you everything that's changed. And if you'll go down, I'm going to address a couple of things that were mentioned. One is having to do with walkouts. Now, I think that there are some people, to me, clearly from what they said, got their information not from the actual document, but from a social media post because and maybe from something that a board member, Ms. Wright, did bring up a proposal for a new policy. We did not have discussion about that. She presented it to us. There has been no movement on that. What is right now in our code of conduct, there was something that was added, and it's on the red line copy. It's on the bottom of page 30 and the top of page 31. I'm just going to read it. Disorder and demonstration. So we're very clear. This is already pulled out of our policy that we already have. The school board recognizes the right of each student to attend school for the purpose of receiving an education. However, the disruption of the educational program of the schools by disorder or any other purposeful activity will not be countenanced. For further information, please see School Board Policy 5520, which is the same 5520 we've had. Students who are found to be in violation of this policy are subject to discipline according to the Code of Student Conduct, Student Behavior Incident Coding for each occurrences, depending on the severity, shall be coded as either gross insubordination, if that is what occurs, if a student is asked to do something and they repeatedly ignore the instructions that they are given, gross insubordination, there is a definition for it, or leaving campus without permission, which is code 033. If they do that, they leave campus. Any other time they leave campus without permission, it's going to be the same punishment. It's not an extra punishment. It's the same one we would do if you skipped campus to walk across the road to go to McDonald's, if you have one across the street from your school. All right? Or disruption on campus. If it's something that occurs that people are walking out into the square, or people are, and disrupting the campus. So I say all that to say some of the things that were mentioned tonight. There were students on that protest day whose parents gave them permission to check out, and they walked out of school, and they were not a disruption on campus, and they didn't have anything to do, there was nothing in the student code of conduct that was applied to them. There are students who could have worn a shirt that had a message on it, or put a sticker on their shirt, and as long as it didn't have ugly words on it, those students also, you talk about Tinker versus Des Moines, that is the most like, and I hate that the gentleman who brought that up and was so adamant about that left before he got to hear the definition of it. We are in line with, I just want to be very clear, our policies and procedures and what happened that day, like it or not, are in line with Tinker versus Des Moines. Because we would have allowed, if students had worn a shirt, worn a sticker, done what, they could have done any of those things. And it wouldn't have been gross insubordination, leaving campus without permission, disruption on campus. The students who did those things and their parents checked them out and they walked out, or last year when they had protests and they did it after school or even before school and they weren't on school board property or during the school day, those students were not punished. They were not handled with the student code of conduct. They did things the way that, honestly, are the way that adults have to do it. I just want to point you to, we talk about First Amendment rights, but you have one of the things, and how we should be teaching students how to exercise their First Amendment rights. Amen. Because as an adult with a job, I have to fit within the boundaries of adult life. If I'm going to protest and I'm an employee of the school district or SpaceX or McDonald's or Walmart, and I violate my employer's policies, that's not a violation of my First Amendment rights. If I'm supposed to be working a cash register at fill in the retail store and I decide to start yelling about ICE, that employer has the right to discipline me, and I could potentially even lose my job. It happens all the time. We have famous TV people that the same thing, because that is not a violation of the First Amendment rights. They have a code of conduct they have to abide by. Students under our control who are at their campus, and it's our job to keep them safe. And it's not the principal's job or the administrator's job to chase students around and try. And that's why it's a disruption on campus when you just walk off. Because all of a sudden, teachers and administrators have to leave what they're supposed to be doing to make sure the students they're responsible for are safe. That is why it's in here. So I just want to make sure that is all that's in here. I do want to address one other thing, because one other new item, and if you listen to the work session, and I encourage you to go back, I think it was on March 10th, Ms. Dampier addressed why we are adding the language other misconduct and serious other misconduct. And I will tell you that I read this specific line because I wanted you to know that that doesn't have anything to do with the disorder and demonstration policy, that those are addressed by what I have here. The other misconduct and the serious other misconduct has to do with the creativity of our students. Because there are things that we haven't thought of that students might do that really aren't okay to do at school, and we don't have them somewhere in the student code of conduct. So we're revising it every year. New things come up. You know, students are very creative and sometimes mischievous in their creativity. So if we have something that a student did that we don't have a code to cover, that's where that would come into play. And there's two levels. It's hardly ever going to be used, I would imagine, as
Correct.
a former principal, Dr. Rendell could, but there are going to be situations where, and there already have been situations, which is why I think it's there, where a principal or a dean is like, I don't know how to code this because we don't have anything that covers this item. So that just gives them something that's definitely inappropriate. It's not good behavior. It needs to be addressed, but we don't have a code for it, so we just gave them a code. That doesn't have anything to do with student protests. Anytime that there's questions and then you see something on a certain social media page and you have questions about it, I encourage you, reach out. There's an explanation. I have gotten 0 emails. And those of you who are out there who've emailed me before, you know I'm good at responding. I'll get there eventually, even if it might be a little late. I've gotten 0 emails about this policy. I've gotten 0 emails about the lobbyists. Nobody reached out to me, so it's very disappointing. You have a right to stand up here and ask about in a public thing, but I could have explained that early on, but nobody asked. So I encourage you, get your news from the source. And you don't have to believe me, but public record will show you, and our public meeting minutes for the last several years will show you the truth of what I'm talking about with the lobbyist, as well as with the code of conduct. So I encourage you to go back and listen to this conversation, but I wanted to make sure that I address those issues. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
And did you have something?
I had exactly what Ms. Campbell was
Yeah,
saying, so
whatever.
I'll pass. Thank you. Well said.
Couldn't have said it better. She did. And the other thing that I want to recognize is that the ability for people not to actually read the facts and actually go into the student code of conduct and appropriately request the information is part of another learning lesson, is that there is a bunch of social media out there that is not true, things that are being said that are not true. And when you do that and you follow that social media, and then you go down that road without actually doing the due diligence of following exactly what Ms. Campbell said, you end up in a place where you may have some regret over the choices that you've made. And that is where we have to step in and make sure that your safety as students is completely taken care of. If you have students that are walking out, you have situations like you had in Nebraska and other places where they were physically hurt inside of the school inside the school as they were trying to protest. That is what our number one job is to make sure that our students are safe. That is number one safety. So when we have individuals that are out there saying, oh yeah, go ahead, leave, you don't have to ask permission and everything like that, they are facilitating you to break the rules and code of conduct, which could put you in a harm's way. That's why the majority of parents said, yeah, no, I'm not gonna go check my kid out, because that's what it is. And those of you that are on social media trying to call our kids out of the schools and do all that stuff, that's wrong. Those of you on social media that are posting that Tinker is the way to go and everything else, that's wrong. But we can't be there to be out on social media, nor will we ever go there. So reach out to us, ask us the questions. Thank you. The other thing I wanted to say is the CFO, we had a situation there. Somebody said, oh, all these different things. It has been stated over and over again that that is zero cost. It has been stated in meetings. Dr. Rendell has said it multiple times. And for people to come up here and say, oh, well, this is just at least email one of us or at least read and watch the meetings where he has stated multiple times. I need to start paying attention. Thank you. Anybody else got anything? Yes, sir. Dr. Rendell?
I mean, Mrs. Campbell did a great job of educating everybody on the facts.
Yep.
There's a lot of misinformation out there on social media and other websites or whatever, and it is disappointing that nobody asks any questions. Like, we could have answered a lot of these questions before tonight, so. Yep.
All right. So now we have a couple more things. Does anybody have any reports that they'd like to talk about? Some positive stuff?
Good news?
Good news?
Positive thing, sure. Let me go up?
Yeah, go ahead.
For it.
You,
All right.
I'd like to go to you first. So if there's ever a time you're like, hey, I need some extra time, we can go to another place.
No, I'm good. I'd just like to, I'd reached out to Meadow Lane Primary School this past week, and Principal Deanna Smith asked to recognize Miss Emma Crail. So I'd like to read a little statement that Miss Smith provided to me, if you allow me. It is in my honor to recognize Miss Emma Crail. Miss Crail is a first-year teacher teaching first grade at Meadow Lane Primary. In her short time teaching, Ms. Crail has already demonstrated the qualities of an exceptional educator and leader. Her passion for teaching, commitment to student success, and natural ability to build meaningful relationships have made an immediate impact on our school community. From the moment she entered the classroom, Ms. Crail established a learning environment that's engaging, supportive, and structured to help young learners thrive. She thoughtfully plans lessons that are purposely creative, supports the needs of her students, and are aligned to the state benchmarks. In addition, she willingly shares her instructional ideas with her colleagues during collaborative planning sessions. Even as a first-year teacher, she demonstrates a strong understanding of instructional practices and consistently works to ensure that every student is actively engaged in learning. Her classroom runs like a well-oiled machine. What truly sets Ms. Crail apart is her dedication to her students. She goes above and beyond to support their academic growth while nurturing their confidence and love of learning. While most of her decisions are data-driven, she takes time to understand each child as an individual and works to ensure they feel valued, capable, and inspired in her classroom. Meadow Lane Primary is a deaf, hard of hearing feeder school. Ms. Crail has the honor of serving as the DHH students in her classroom. And what makes this so incredible is that Ms. Crail is DHH herself. She provides opportunities daily to show all students what is possible. In addition to her strong instructional practices, Ms. Crail approaches her profession with remarkable professionalism and a growth mindset. I've had the pleasure of coaching and co-teaching with Ms. Crail on several occasions this school year. She actively seeks feedback, reflects on her practice, and continually seeks ways to refine her teaching. Her willingness to learn and improve speaks volumes about the educator she is becoming. Despite being early in her career, Ms. Crail already embodies the qualities of a master teacher: dedication, compassion, creativity, and a belief in the potential of every child. We are beyond grateful to have Ms. Crail as a part of our Meadow Lane Primary family. She is a phenomenal first-year educator whose impact will only continue to grow in the years ahead. And I would like to echo Ms. Smith's comments and congratulate Ms. Crail on an exceptional job.
It's awesome, man. Good job.
Ready for him? All right. First of all, I want to recognize Principal Heather Legate from Vieira High School, who was recognized at the Sheriff's Award Ceremony a few weeks ago. I got to attend that ceremony with the Partnership Award for the way that she, for primarily the way that she opens up her campus so frequently for the Sheriff's Department to do, have ceremonies or training sessions or whatever. And so she was recognized. It was kind of a surprise. She didn't know why she was there, but it was fun to get to be there to celebrate her, as well as the many other Sheriff's Department employees who were recognized that night. It was truly inspiring. Lots of life-saving going on in our county. A few weeks ago, we had the groundbreaking for the new building at Bayside High School, which will not be opening until, not next school year, but the year after, but it was exciting to see that they've already gotten started. And for the public who's not aware, that area is growing so fast at Bayside just in the last a handful of years, when I say like 3 or 4 years, has moved from the 5th largest high school in the county to the 2nd largest, and most likely next year will be larger than Vieira, and they will be our largest high school in the county. So it was exciting to have lots of our special guests there, and to look to the expansion of the first high school in the city of Palm Bay. And then finally, this morning I was at Indy Atlantic Elementary, and I just wanted to recognize them because, you know, Ms. Harris has shared with us about the U-Fly program that we're using to go along with our Mighty Moves and all of our phonics, science of reading development. And I believe that Indy Atlantic was the first school to get going with U-Fly, and some of the teachers there, it was actually not by the principal, brought by a teacher to get us started. And then they're so excited, and I got to see lots of phonics, great phonics instruction going on. And so just great job, Indy Atlantic teachers. And Dr. Lord had so many good things to say about her teaching staff this morning and the way they're just really running with it and doing great things for kids. So I really look forward. Indy Atlantic always does a great job, but I told them this morning I look forward to them rocking again on our state testing at the end of the year because they're just doing a really phenomenal job. That's it, Mr. Chair.
Awesome. Thank you. Mr. Chair.
All right, so since the last time I was able to attend the Endeavor Elementary Disney production. It was a play. What happened there was the Disney Corporation awarded Endeavor a grant, and they put on a play of 101 Dalmatians, and it was wonderful to see those kids. It was as if they were on Broadway performing. It It was nice. So if you haven't seen that, there's some clips of that on Brevard Schools, I think on our webpage, and also on Endeavor's webpage as well. So shout out to Principal Murphy there. It was handled well. The place was packed, and Disney was there taking pictures and video, and it was wonderful. So the other thing is congratulations to Ms. Taylor and the Merritt Island High School Student Government Association for being selected as the 2026 National Gold Council of Excellence. Now this award, it recognizes student councils that maintain a high standard in leadership, service, engagement, and student voice. And only a handful of these schools are selected for this award. So to Ms. Lubbers and the Student Government Association over there, great job. Ms. Bynum?
Thank you, Mr. Trent. I just want a real quick short one is that there's an individual out there that's working to coordinate all of our groups that we're having host a lot of our different elementary school sports. And so Gary Miracle has come in, I'm not sure if you know his story, but he's an amazing individual, has come in to work with bringing in Vieira East to host the championship for golf, the different organizations like NFL Flag to host some of the flag football that we don't have in middle school, and all of those different components. So I just wanted to take a second and say thank you to him for dedicating his time, because he doesn't get paid on it, he doesn't get anything out of it. He just cares about making a difference for our kids. That's it. And then I've asked, to anybody have anything further to report? Anybody have any items they want to talk about?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir. I was going to come to you in a second.
Okay.
But yeah, no, you go ahead. You go ahead.
just want to make sure I didn't get left out.
No, I do that sometimes. I am going to bring, just so you guys know, so you guys can start focusing on it, I'm going to bring the AI forward that you had asked to bring forward at the next meeting for discussion at the school, at the workshop, just so you know. So that you guys are aware, if you have anything you want to reach out and stuff like that, I'm going to bring it forward just for discussion. We're not making any decisions, but I want to hear where everybody's at with some of their thoughts. We got to get, I was realizing at our offsite, we got to get ahead of that, and you had mentioned we're going to have that coming up. If there's any training or anything we have to do over the summer, we better get ahead of any kind of policies that we have. So
Yeah,
think-
I wanted to throw out one thing. No, did I lose? I had I'm sorry. I had a business card. We had, never mind, scratch that. I'll tell it later when I find the card.
It's fine. Just if you guys have
Some
anything,
free resources I
bring them
was gonna share.
forward. Just get ready for it. That'll be a good conversation, okay? Dr. Endo.
So if anybody was watching our workshop earlier today, you saw we had a surprise visit at the end of the workshop with two of the leaders of our high school robotics teams. So just before spring break, at the end of the week before spring break, I had the honor of attending the regional first robotics competition in Orlando. UCF has been hosting this competition for several years. We have a lot of high schools that have robotics teams that compete in this competition, and I was just blown away by the dedication, the amount of time, energy, and effort that these students and their volunteer mentors and coaches have put in. We had seven different teams from numerous high schools. Some high schools have joint teams, and just hundreds of kids from Brevard Schools, public schools, participating in that competition, and they were amazing. So we had two of the leaders come and speak to the board today at our workshop. So if you want to tune in and watch that, you can see at the end of the workshop they talk. And then on April 28th, they're going to do a presentation at the beginning of our workshop. So if you're at all interested in learning about the incredible robotics teams that we have here at our high schools in Brevard, I encourage you to either attend the workshop on April 28th, 1 o'clock right here, or at least watch it, because they're going to do a demonstration, and we're going to have a lot of their leadership there to talk about FIRST Robotics in Brevard County and what a great job they're doing. So I was just really amazed at what those students and their mentors have done, and we're going to share that with the board in a couple weeks. That's
Sounds
it.
good. All right. Are you guys good to keep going, or do you guys want to use the restroom? You guys need a break?
We got to recess first.
Yeah,
We have to recess.
Let's
but
take
yeah.
a few minutes.
Okay, let's recess for 5 minutes.